So funding was also a huge part of the conversation. And naturally, for people that aspire to be entrepreneurs or founders, they want to know how to access capital. And I think capital and finance in itself is something that needs to be demystified, because there's a lot of jargon that's thrown around. I mean, even for somebody like me who was in finance for a decade, now being on the other side, I'm also getting exposed to a lot of terminology that I wouldn't necessarily know that that's the words that we're using, but I understand them for more of an execution and practical perspective. So I can imagine for people that maybe don't have a similar background, whether in finance, in law, it can be a little bit challenging because there's a lot of jargon thrown around. I mean, if you want to put your business through the venture capital route, you're going to be navigating term sheets and equity and all sorts of things that you may not necessarily have the commercial acumen to navigate, but you may have a brilliant idea. So I think one of the bigger considerations is what type of a founder would you want to be? Because you could be a technical founder or a non-technical founder, but also it depends. What type of business are you trying to build? And how are you going to do that? Because I've seen a lot of founders who focus on just fundraising, but then inadvertently you end up being a founder who's focused on fundraising, not necessarily an ops founder, because you aren't really running your business on a day-to-day basis. You aren't really testing your models. You aren't really engaging with your customers or your community. So I think you need to decide, how are you going to start? And I think for me, people also underestimate just the starting, just starting, because I think people think you wake up tomorrow and you start. And I mean, people found businesses under different circumstances. I mean, my circumstances were very different. I didn't have a choice, so I wasn't really given like lots and lots of runway to think and plan. So it was just like jumping, building the plane while flying, and then oh, one wing falls off, great. Well, maybe the plane is flying like this for some time. And then, you get back the wing and it's like, great, I think we're stable now. Oh, turbulence. So it's different. I think like if you were a person who, I don't know, from a young age was like always dreaming about a particular business and an industry and so on and so forth, perhaps with that level of preparedness, you'll be a little bit better. But I mean, statistics say that most VC, PE firms back people who failed a lot in life, because it proves that you're able to actually get back up again. And that's what's required for entrepreneurship. So I'm not sure. But that's what I basically want to highlight from the founder side is, if you want to be a founder, you could be a technical founder or non-technical founder. Non-technical founder just means that you don't necessarily have the expertise, skill set, or lived experience to operate within the industry that you want to go into. An example, I mean, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be less successful than a technical founder. I mean, Melanie Perkins, who founded Canva, was a non-technical founder. She didn't have a background in design, in graphic design, yet we're all using Canva. But at the same time, she did get rejected, like I think it was like 100 and something times. But then you sort of question, like, did she get rejected 100 and something times because she didn't have that technical background? I'm not really sure. I haven't really like studied her her funding journey to that level of detail, so I'm not sure. Whereas if you're a technical founder, then that would mean you're actually qualified in graphic design. So when investors look at you, they think, okay, fine, you are qualified in the area that you're trying to get into. You'll understand the ecosystem, the landscape, and so on and so forth. So those are the type of considerations that people trying to give money to people have. I didn't want to make this a long overview because I think there's a lot to take in, and I'll probably try and do another kind of video like this where I just explain a bit more of like what's happening behind the veil, what are some of the things that we're working on.